Hello walkers, it's Yvonne here from Living Walks, and today I'm inviting you to walk alongside me in lovely Caniço, Madeira. And I'm going to be chatting a bit about some of the things we'll see along the way. So we've just arrived into Canico by bus. We took the Sam bus from Funchal. Took us around 20 minutes and it departed from the Funchal bus station. Pretty simple to find. So really easy to get here and really nice picturesque journey along the way. So we've got up ahead the church and the central square, and you can see just off to the right where that white car is just driving up. That's where we got off the bus and walked down, and we're just walking back in the opposite direction now. There's one of the numerous yellow taxis there just everywhere. You're never going to be short of a taxi. So sounding like there's something going on in the church here today. I'm not quite sure what that is.
Hoje é com alegria que nos encontramos para, neste ambiente da festa, neste ambiente em que integramos duas crianças na vida desta comunidade, na vida da igreja, para unirmos-nos esse amor pleno. Essa é a marca não só da vida matrimonial,
we'll be going today. So quite a coastal town on the southeast coast of Madeira. It's Caniço. Really steep hills around here, particularly steep, and sheer cliffs, and the beaches of course are pebbly, made of course of the volcanic rock. So you're going to find that with most of the beaches in Madeira. They're all going to be very big, either very big pebbles or a couple of sandy beaches, but most of them are going to be big pebbles. Okay, so let's just make our way downhill. Something quite interesting I want to show you that we actually haven't really been to ourselves. We haven't actually been to Caniço before. This is the first visit, and so I'm keen to see this place that we're going to take you to shortly. So we're just passing back through the central square. It's really quite hot today, so it's very seductive, this little cafe coming up here. I'd really quite fancy sitting there for a little beer, but maybe on the way back while we're waiting for the bus. And that looks quite nice, the one under the yellow canopy there, doesn't it? Nice and Quinta there, perhaps. Okay, so we're going to turn left here downhill just for it's about 3 or 4 minutes down here, and then going to come to somewhere that I'm really looking forward to discovering. It's called the Splendida Botanical Gardens. It's quite unique really, because it is a working hotel, but the botanical gardens of the hotel are really lovely apparently, and they're open to the public. So it's quite a sleepy town, isn't it? But sort of small but nicely formed, you might say. Okay, so I think the gardens are down here on the left-hand side. Let's talk a little bit about them before we arrive. So, as I understand it, the Quinta Splendida has created a kind of a new concept, really, of sort of holidaying. The idea is that you feel like you're on holiday in a botanical garden, which is pretty cool. And there's a main building there, which is one of the restored 19th century mansions. We call it a quinta, and they're of course linked to the aristocratic families who once lived in them. Very beautiful, quite grand. You see them all around Funchal town, often looking quite dilapidated, so it's lovely to know that this particular one is being well used. Okay, there's another bus stop there, handy to know. And what's that little bank across the way? Cash point machine, so that's also quite handy to see. A little cafe here on our left. Looks like they have some nice pastel donatas in the window, so we might be returning on the way back to that little cafe. A big hotel there, isn't it, coming up on the right? Parking spots there for those of you who are going to be coming by car, which is handily just opposite the gardens, which we're going to enter now. So they've got their own car park, but I guess that's for the hotel guests rather than people who are just visiting botanical gardens. So, okay, a little bit about the gardens then as we perambulate through them. So, as I understand it, there's around 30,000 square metres of botanical gardens here, with over 1,000 different plant species. Oh wow, it's really lovely already, isn't it? And apparently it's kind of one of those botanical gardens that's really been planted with great consideration to make sure that the whole year round it's very kind of balanced and lush, so it kind of doesn't have its winter period where everything looks a bit sad. It seems like they have really thought that out, so it's consistently beautiful. So this current layout apparently was created around about 1990, and the owner, Giancarlo Bertoli, I think his name was, and he imported some of the plants from the Canary Islands, and the main idea of the design was that very much it did look beautiful consistently all the year round. And it was awarded the title Botanical Gardens by the government, and that was in recognition of the sympathetic design of the garden. Let's just have a little look, see what we find down this windy path. Nice to hear a little bit of bird song as well. So isn't something you always hear as much of as you'd imagine in Madeira, bird song. Coming from the UK is something you tend to hear a lot of. Oh, they look lovely. I'd be very happy to be staying there. come and see what's around the corner. I wonder if that's the rooftops of the spa or the indoor pool. They do have an indoor heated pool here as well as outdoor heated pools. And I understand they've got quite a nice restaurant here, cocktail bar, apparently a little putting green as well. And I just noticed as we came in that they had a little sign saying that you can also rent a car or bikes. I don't think I'd really fancy hiring a bike on Madeira. Oh, that's a nice pool. Apparently heated. Don't think you'd need a heated pool on a day like today though. It'd be quite welcome to be, for me anyway, to be a nice cold pool. Some more lovely rooms coming up here on the right. Wow, very beautiful hotel. Not particularly busy, considering it's middle of July. I'd expected the pool on such a hot day to be very busy, but not particularly. Let's just go and have a look at the little, looks like a little cafe, coffee bar over here on the right. Pretty quiet, isn't it? Maybe it's a bit hot and everyone's having a bit of a siesta. Actually quite nice and cool here by the shade. A nice little spot. Just come and have a see. The view. Lovely view, I can see already. Looks like it's going to be a little bit of a walk downhill to get to the promenade, so I've just cut a little bit short there so we can join up a little bit further down. Okay, so we're just about halfway down, maybe a bit more than halfway. Seems to be the hotel area along this road here. I should think they have some glorious views from high up like this. Yeah, I can quite imagine they've got glorious views over the Atlantic, and on a clear day maybe they could even have a view of the Desertus Islands, maybe even Porto Santo from here, I'm not sure. That's the thing I really love about Madeira, even when you're walking along a roadside, there's just the smell of the lush vegetation, and there's always a kind of lovely sound of the wind in the banana trees. It's just there's no traffic congestion around here, even though we're walking along a road. It doesn't have a feeling of being very roady. Oh, that's quite a nice hotel there, isn't it? Getting a little bit closer towards the promenade. Another one here over to the right. tree up ahead, it kind of really reminds me of, I read Dr. Seuss as a child and really loved the way he put personality into everything, into trees, into animals, into rocks and stones. Everything had personality, and that tree up ahead just looks to me like it's been drawn by Dr. Seuss. Hotel. Look at that, beautiful. So garden's so lush. Of course, the climate here is just about perfect. Christmas time, and we've been in September before. It's actually the first time we've been in the height of summer. We wanted to see what it was like in the height of the school holidays, so we feel that we've been in the busiest times and also quiet times. Really, as you can see, it's not overrun, is it? It's not overrun with traffic, and even when you're on the beach or in the centre of the towns, you really don't feel that you're crammed in with lots of other people by any means. Nice little restaurant bar down there, maybe on the way back, pop in there. And I'm not sure whether we're going to be getting the bus uphill or whether, I think there is a bus stop that's a little bit closer to the promenade. It's just that we wanted to get up on the upper part, get off the bus at the upper part, so we could show you all the different areas. I think we'll be probably in this heat inclined to get the bus down from close to the promenade. Of course, that's a site you see a lot of in Madeira, the cranes, which are constant building work here. Very popular, more popular than ever. It's seemingly the island, and so much building work been going on since, well, particularly the last 5 or 6 years, but we've been coming here off and on for 15 years, and every time you come, it's quite noticeable that obviously it's finding enough places for people to live, because everyone wants to come here, especially at the moment. It seems a particularly popular place from after the pandemic, and lots of digital nomads visiting. I guess feedback has been it's not really got that feeling that it's a place reserved for older people. It's for everybody, for every generation. So much to offer with the levadas and the water sports. Handy to know. Little supermarket here on our left. Oh, and coming up ahead of us, a few little restaurants, nice looking little restaurants. I probably would have a bit of a view if it wasn't for that corrugated iron on the right hand side. Grilled limpets, and yeah, that's what I'd be having. Mike definitely wouldn't be touching the limpets. He's not keen on anything tiny. For some reason he's got a thing about tiny things. Single pea on a plate he's quite adverse to. For some reason doesn't like anything smaller than, what can I say, about the size of a baby's fingernail seems to be his benchmark. If it's any smaller than that, unless it's in large numbers, he won't go near it. Ah, this is a lovely view coming up. Another lovely hotel in front. That looks like that's directly on the promenade. Plenty of parking spots here coming up on the right. Seemingly looks like free parking. I can't see any restrictions there with parking. Somebody might correct me. So Caniço, just to mention, is about 9 kilometres from the airport and about 10 from Funchal, I believe. So very easy to get to, and perhaps that's why it's so popular with particularly expats. I'm not sure, I mean, I guess it's pretty popular with holidaymakers by a number of pretty large hotels, but also one of the main reasons we wanted to come here, we were quite curious because we understand that there's a huge amount of expats who want to live here. I suppose if you don't want to live for any reason in Funchal, maybe can't afford it or difficult to find parking spaces or any kind of villas of any size, you can just be a short drive, a 10-minute drive away from Funchal, and probably for the same price get a lovely villa with your own car parking space. So you can see why it's going to be popular. And some more car parking space here. Okay, let's just take a little walk directly down to the promenade. Can't quite see any of the islands today, a little bit misty on the horizon. Cool recycling bins there, looks like just about everything separated here. It's pretty impressive. Okay, so we're nearly onto the promenade. Actually, imagine that building on the left was pretty magnificent in its day. Can't quite make out what it would have been. Something pretty monumental. So now we're coming on to the main promenade. Promenade that passes some of the more grand hotels, the bigger hotels. You can see how pebbly the beach is. It's pretty typical, as I would say, of Madeira Island. It's can be quite difficult to get into the sea, quite slippery. Sometimes they have a boardwalk that directly leads you from the promenade down into the water. It can be difficult to navigate the big rocks, the pebbles. Pretty quiet here on the promenade. I just expect to turn a corner and there to be hordes of people. I'm not too sure. Let's have a look. Does it look busy in the hotel on our left? Moderately busy, isn't it? So I understand in September every year this promenade becomes a place where the Caniço festival is held. Typical Madeiran bands, stalls selling local delicacies. can see the stones there, how slippery they look. Obviously nobody's swimming in this area. You can normally tell if there's nobody swimming in a particular area, it's just for good reason. It's because no one can actually get into the water without burning themselves. Yeah. So the Caniço festival takes place here. So local delicacies like poncha, of course. Poncha being the typical Madeiran drink made with distilled sugarcane rum, honey and lemon. I don't think I've left anything out there. Sometimes you see it in different flavours if you visit the different towns. Sometimes you'll find some completely random flavouring. Lobos, for instance, has a dedicated poncha bar there, and they have a whole menu of different ponchas. But the basic traditional poncha is made with distilled sugarcane, rum, honey and lemon. Probably plenty of Nikita also drunk. Nikita, Mike's favourite drink when he's here in Madeira. He normally likes to go to Praia Famosa. That's where he thinks you can find the best Nikita cocktail. Wow, a bit hot for working out. He needs a Nikita. So a Nikita is something, the ingredients that you would think definitely wouldn't go together. So first ingredient sounds quite nice. Pineapple juice, sounds okay. Ice cream, that's kind of working. Add a little bit of beer, okay. And then just to top it off, add a little bit of wine. So a Nikita, ice cream, pineapple juice, beer and wine, which sounds pretty wrong, but believe me, is so right. You cannot go home without trying a Nikita, and I defy you not to enjoy it particularly on a hot day like today. So I'm just assuming around this corner there must be a cafe or two, because we've not really seen any along the promenade. If this was the UK, it would be lines and lines and lines and lines of little cafes and bars. Ah, here we are, yes, ahead of us. Looks like there's at least one little bar there, little cafe. And looks like, is that little Lido there ahead of us? I think it is. And the main swimming beach. And you can see they're under the parasols, and they've got these plinths because it's really not very comfortable to lie on the beach here, as you could well imagine. Really not comfortable at all. So very lucky if you can find a parasol. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on this bit of beach. I wonder what that cute little yellow house is on the left. I'd love to know if anybody could let me know in the comments section what this little dwelling is on the left here. Very curious to know. Bit of tin, I think. Knowing how hot it was going to be today, we've brought our swimming stuff, so I think we're going to go for a dip first, and then we'll pop into that little cafe here off to the left in the shade, and Mike will be having a Nikita and I will be probably having a Caniço. For those of you who are not sure, Caniço is like, well, just coffee with milk, you might say, a little mini cappuccino. You just can't go wrong with coffee, really, in Portugal, in Madeira. You just everywhere, really. It's not like you say, oh, you need to go here and you need to go to this coffee shop. Very difficult to find not find a good coffee. Oh, there's a couple of spaces there in the shade. So, yeah, I think we're gonna make our way down here. I think there's even some changing rooms on the left by the looks of it. Some toilets. So we're gonna leave you here. We're gonna get our swimming stuff on, have a nice cool dip, and then go for a little drink after that. So let's just finish off by swinging round past the lifeguards. That's not a bad job, is it? Just finishing off with a little view of the swimming area of Caniço. So thanks for joining us today, and hope to see you again soon.